Bigfoot lives, at least that's what Ryan Layton, Utah's self-proclaimed premier expert on Sasquatch, firmly believes. For 13 years, Layton has pursued the elusive creature by interviewing Utahns who claim to have had close encounters and by gathering what he asserts is evidence of its existence.
As far as I know, in the state of Utah, I've taken this Bigfoot study further than anyone else. It's absolutely overwhelming. The things I've come to find out, it's controversial but fascinating.
Reports of an animal fitting the Bigfoot description have come from Utah and the Pacific Northwest. Layton, 39, a self-employed entrepreneur, doesn't claim to have solved the Bigfoot mystery. He hasn't personally seen the creature, but says he's found enough evidence over the years to be convinced that something beyond normal understanding is out there. He emphasizes that he's not on a monster hunt, but is searching for answers and possibly an unknown species of animal.
In all probability, they do exist. I can't prove it to anybody, but people have indeed seen Bigfoot in unmistakable conditions.
Layton has faced criticism for his belief in Bigfoot, as most people scoff at such reports. Scientists remain skeptical, demanding the capture or discovery of a Bigfoot skeleton. Critics argue that without fossils, bones, or remains, it's unlikely that such an animal exists.
You'd think you'd come across a dead one or a fossil.
However, he doesn't support the idea of shooting one to present a body as proof to science. Some Bigfoot studies have ventured into the metaphysical realm, with recent theories suggesting a connection to UFOs. Layton, however, doesn't see much connection between the two, though he doesn't rule out the possibility of Bigfoot being an introduced or experimental species, given the lack of fossil evidence. When humans encounter Bigfoot, Layton noted that 80% of sightings occur at night and most involve a reserved yet curious creature. Bigfoot may watch a campsite from a distance, but is rarely aggressive. Although a few people have reported their trucks or campers being rocked by Bigfoot, Layton said this is rare. A foul odor often accompanies a Bigfoot encounter, possibly from protective glands. Other animals also react negatively to Bigfoot. Dogs and horses often show fear and apprehension in its presence.
I don't think it's Cain or a Cain-related offspring, Layton said, though he does believe Bigfoot is a sojourner. However, he doesn't believe Patton met Bigfoot, as the Apostle's horse reportedly remained calm during the encounter.
Layton referred to Dr. Grover S. Krantz's research, noting that Bigfoot likely doesn't share many human tendencies. Some theories suggest Bigfoot is a modern version of the ancient primate Gigantopithecus, which lived in China over 500,000 years ago and may have migrated to North America. However, Layton pointed out that this idea doesn't explain the absence of skeletons. Layton's interest in Bigfoot dates back to reading a story in True magazine in 1962 and making an amateur Bigfoot movie in the 9th grade. His interest was rekindled in 1980 when several Bigfoot sightings were reported in South Weber Davis County. He admitted to being obsessed with the creature back then. The local sightings were significant because previous ones were mostly in the Pacific Northwest, though Bigfoot has also been reported in places like San Diego, the Las Vegas area, and the Grand Canyon.
I made a promise to myself to get to the bottom of those sightings. I decided to be an investigator and remain skeptical.
After years of investigation, Layton is now convinced of Bigfoot's existence.
It's turned into a really interesting hobby. You'd be shocked how many people in Utah have witnessed these things.
He has spoken to 30 to 40 Utahns who claim to have had close encounters with Bigfoot.
These things have been seen all over the state.
Layton believes seeing Bigfoot is a matter of luck. You can't just go out looking for it like a big game animal and expect to see one. He has seen footprints and believes he heard a Bigfoot cry out in the Uintas during 1983. He mentioned that Bigfoot sightings in Utah didn't stop after the South Weber incident 13 years ago. He cited a legend among the UTEs about a place on the Ouray Indian Reservation near Roosevelt where Bigfoot-like creatures have been reported. However, Layton has been unable to get permission to visit this sacred area. The UTEs also have a cedar burning ceremony involving Sasquatch, and some petroglyphs depicting disproportionately large feet might indicate that Indians have known about Bigfoot for centuries. Some Indian lore suggests they believe Bigfoot is a spirit. If a Bigfoot is ever found or caught, Layton believes it might be in Utah's Winter Mountains. He recounted how Roger Patterson, who filmed what he claimed to be Bigfoot in 1967, approached a Roosevelt outfitter about searching for Bigfoot in the winters that summer. Leighton also noted that an author mentioned in a book on Bigfoot that the winters might be where the creature is finally caught. Leighton isn't sure why the winters are considered a potential Bigfoot refuge, but he believes the evidence suggests that one doesn't need to go to the Pacific Northwest to search for the creature. He said if Bigfoot is ever caught, the environmental ramifications would far exceed the restrictions prompted by the spotted owl in the Northwest and would significantly impact Utah's wilderness areas. Leighton mentioned that tracks were found in the Garland-Box Elder County area within the past 5 years, and there was a sighting around North Salt Lake's gravel pits on Beck Street about 10 years ago. He also noted more recent evidence in North Ogden over the past 2 years, though he declined to comment further. Media reactions and the potential for ridicule have prevented some people with Bigfoot evidence or experiences from coming forward publicly, Leighton said. The Mysteries of Bigfoot and Werewolves, a comparative tale. In the mist-shrouded forests of North America, where the trees stand tall and silent, the legends of mysterious creatures persist. These tales have been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones by those who claim to have encountered the unknown. Two of the most enduring legends are those of Bigfoot and the werewolf, creatures that are feared, revered, and endlessly debated. Despite the countless reports and sightings, the evidence remains elusive. Are these creatures real, or are they simply the figments of overactive imaginations? To answer this question, we must delve into the stories of eyewitnesses and examine the physical evidence, or lack thereof, associated with these cryptids.
Eyewitness testimony has long been the cornerstone of many Bigfoot and werewolf sightings. However, as reliable as we would like to believe they are, eyewitness stories often fall short of providing the concrete evidence needed to prove the existence of these creatures. Imagine the stress of encountering a huge, hairy monster in the dead of night. Such an experience would leave anyone shaken, and memories of the event might be distorted by fear and adrenaline. But there are important differences between the studies of human witness lineups and encounters with strange creatures like Bigfoot and werewolves. In the studies cited by experts like Dorff, participants were tasked with the complex job of matching the facial features of a stranger to their memory of a quick glimpse. This is no easy feat, especially when the differences between the subjects are subtle. On the other hand, eyewitnesses of big, furry hominids like Bigfoot, or the half-human, half-wolf creatures known as werewolves, are usually focused on identifying what kind of creature they saw. They aren't trying to distinguish one man-wolf from another. They're trying to figure out if what they saw was a bear, a deer, or something far more unusual. Imagine two police lineups. In one, a witness is asked to choose between 3 Caucasian males of similar height and hair color, but with different facial features. In the second lineup, the witness is required to identify which creature they saw: a bear, a deer, or an upright, wolf-headed thing. It's likely that success rates would be much higher in the second lineup. Something as extraordinary as a werewolf or Bigfoot is much easier to remember after all. Witnesses often say that the image of the creature they saw was burned into their brains, making it unforgettable. Yet even in human trials, witnesses who are certain of what they saw are not necessarily more reliable than those who are unsure. This begs the question: if eyewitness memories can't always be trusted, what kind of physical proof, otherwise known as hard evidence, exists to support the existence of Bigfoot and werewolves?
The image of that creature is burned into my brain. I can't forget it.
The legend of the werewolf is as old as civilization itself, with roots in ancient Greek and Roman mythology. These shape-shifting creatures are said to transform from human to wolf under the light of a full moon, driven by a primal urge to hunt and kill. Unlike Bigfoot, who is often seen as a shy and reclusive creature, werewolves are portrayed as dangerous predators, monsters that terrorize the night. Eyewitness accounts of werewolves are filled with horror and dread. People claim to have seen men transform into wolves before their very eyes, or to have encountered wolves that walked on 2 legs like humans. These accounts, much like those of Bigfoot, are often dismissed as mere fantasy or the result of a vivid imagination. But what if there is some truth to these stories? Could there be a scientific explanation for the werewolf phenomenon? Some researchers suggest that werewolves might be linked to a rare medical condition known as hypertrichosis, which causes excessive hair growth all over the body. Others point to the possibility of a psychological disorder that leads people to believe they are transforming into animals. Despite these theories, there is still no concrete evidence to support the existence of werewolves. Much like Bigfoot, the werewolf remains a creature of legend, a mystery that is yet to be solved.
Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is often depicted as a shy and reclusive creature that lives deep in the forests of North America. Unlike the werewolf, Bigfoot is not seen as a threat to humans. In fact, many of those who claim to have encountered Bigfoot describe the creature as gentle, even curious. But despite the numerous sightings and reports, hard evidence of Bigfoot's existence remains elusive. Some believe that Bigfoot is an undiscovered species of primate, while others think it might be a relic of a prehistoric human species. Yet, without concrete evidence, these theories are difficult to prove. The footprints, blurry photos, and anecdotal accounts that make up the body of evidence for Bigfoot are not enough to convince the scientific community. Skeptics argue that these sightings are the result of misidentifications, hoaxes, or even hallucinations brought on by stress or fear.
Still, the legend of Bigfoot endures. For many, the possibility that such a creature could exist is too tantalizing to dismiss. The mystery of Bigfoot continues to captivate the imagination of those who venture into the wilderness, hoping for a glimpse of the elusive creature.
The stories of Bigfoot and werewolves are more than just tales of strange creatures. They are reflections of our own humanity. They speak to our fear of the unknown, our fascination with the wild, and our desire for connection with something greater than ourselves. Whether these creatures are real or not, the legends they inspire are powerful and enduring. In the end, it is not the existence of Bigfoot or werewolves that matters most, but the stories we tell about them. These stories shape our perceptions, influence our beliefs, and connect us to the mysteries of the world around us. And as long as there are those who are willing to believe, the legends of Bigfoot and werewolves will continue to thrive, casting their long shadows over the forests and hills of our imaginations. Reported by Eddie Glenn, CNHI News Service.
Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Is Bigfoot roaming around Pumpkin Hollow? That's the big question after a young resident from Tahlequah brought forward a photo, claiming it shows none other than Bigfoot, right in the middle of the frame. The picture was taken by his mother in the Pumpkin Hollow area several weeks ago. Now, after looking into it, I've got to say, while the figure in the photo isn't clearly Bigfoot, it's not clearly anything else either. It could be a scratch on the camera lens, a speck of dust, or maybe something else entirely. But let's not completely rule out the possibility that it just might be the legendary, hairy creature known as Bigfoot. If it turns out not to be Bigfoot, well, no harm done. But if it is, this wouldn't be the first time someone has claimed to spot one in this area. Back on August 1st, 1990, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department received a report of a Bigfoot sighting on the east side of Eldon Hill. Former Sheriff's investigator Jack Goss recalled, "We kind of shook our heads when we got the call, but the lady sounded serious. She said Bigfoot was in her backyard. We thought it might have been a bear, but she was convinced it wasn't. She described it as hairy and really bad smelling." Goss wasn't the only one to hear such tales. Dan Garber, who was the Cherokee County Undersheriff at the time, mentioned that several residents had reported similar sightings, and a few calves and sheep had gone missing in the area. This sighting caused quite a stir, enough that it even got the attention of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. BFRO. According to their records, the Eldon incident is classified as a Class A sighting, which means the creature was seen clearly, and misidentification of other animals can be ruled out with confidence. Cherokee County Sheriff's Deputy Joe Weevil looked into the 1990 sighting and found footprints big enough to fit both of his feet inside. Then, just 2 days later, an 8-year-old girl and her mother reported seeing a similar creature digging through a trash pile near their house. Their dog tried to chase it but quickly returned, tail tucked between its legs. They described the creature as 8 feet tall, with dark brown frizzy hair and walking upright like a person, but resembling a bear. Bigfoot footprint was discovered, No other sightings were reported after 1990, until now. It's worth mentioning that if Bigfoot is indeed living in the woods of Cherokee County, it makes sense that someone who spends a lot of time out there might see it. Someone like Oklahoma game warden Brady May, for instance. May, however, has never seen Bigfoot, though he has spotted a few bears. He mentioned that back in 1990, bear sightings were pretty common in Cherokee County. Young male bears, pushed out by older, stronger males during mating season, often end up wandering into new areas. It's not uncommon for us to get called out to deal with a nuisance bear, May said, so it wouldn't be too surprising for someone to see one around here. But the 1990 Eldon Bigfoot sighting remains classified as a Class A event. According to the BFRO, there have been several reports near the area since the early 70s, and even possible sightings near Pegs, northwest of Tahlequah. Garber pointed out that one consistent feature of these sightings is that they happen in wooded areas where an animal could easily move around without being seen. You don't hear about many Bigfoot sightings in Arizona or Enid for that matter, he said. I mean, how many Bigfoot sightings do you hear of in Enid? So could Bigfoot really be roaming the woods of Cherokee County? It's a mystery that keeps folks wondering.
Story reported by Tom Mitchell, Castleton, New York. Lately, there's been quite a stir about what some believe to be a legendary ape-like creature making its presence known in Whitehall, New York, and Kinderhook, New York. This buzz has caught the attention of Dr. Warren Cook, a local anthropologist from Castleton State College. Over the past year, Dr. Cook has been delving into reports from California about a large creature known as Sasquatch. You might have heard it called by other names like Bigfoot, Yeti, Swamp Ape, or Bushman. On May 6th, Bruce Hallenbach Jr. from Kinderhook stumbled upon what he believes are fresh tracks left by this mysterious creature. Bruce, along with his family, has also been hearing eerie sounds that they suspect come from Bigfoot. Just last Friday night, they heard another series of these noises. Bruce's grandmother, Martha Hallenbach, chimed in, recalling how she heard a laughing cry that reminded her of a hyena on Saturday. She said she heard a similar piercing scream years ago on a night she claims to have seen a Bigfoot creature herself. Bruce mentioned finding 3 distinct sets of footprints under a bridge near a creek in a remote part of Kinderhook on May 6th. The prints varied in size, measuring from just under 14 inches to 6 inches. Dr. Cook has been keeping close tabs on the Bigfoot reports coming out of New York. He takes these sightings seriously, stating that such encounters shouldn't be laughed off. Cook is especially interested in hearing about any new sightings that might come up. He refers to areas with frequent reports of the creature as hotspots and believes it's possible that Bigfoot could be lurking in Vermont too. According to Cook, Bigfoot's strong sense of smell and familiarity with its territory make it particularly elusive, especially since it's a nocturnal creature. While some researchers think the best way to prove Bigfoot's existence is by shooting one to study its body, Cook disagrees. He doesn't believe these creatures pose any harm to humans and thinks they should be protected from extinction. Killing one just to prove it exists might push the species over the edge, especially if their breeding population is already small, Cook explained. At a recent presentation at Castleton State College, Cook showed a variety of color films and photographs of Bigfoot. The audience had its fair share of skeptics, but there were also some true believers in the crowd. One of those believers was Paul Bartholomew from Whitehall, a Bigfoot enthusiast who recalled numerous sightings in New York's Washington County during the 1970s. Paul even visited Bruce Hallenbach to see a casting of the footprint found on May 6th. Paul noted that screeching sounds thought to be made by Bigfoot were also heard on May 10th and 11th by people at the Skeeny Valley Country Club in Whitehall and the Whitehall School. Dr. Cook has been focused lately on the work of Ivan Marks, who has produced photographs and films purportedly showing Bigfoot. A segment of the color documentary In the Shadow of Bigfoot includes images taken by Marks in Shasta County, California. Although Marks has faced accusations of faking some of his Sasquatch footage, Cook remains interested in his work. Cook plans to give another presentation this fall and has been questioning Marks extensively about his research. Despite the controversy, Cook couldn't find conclusive proof that Marks's films were fraudulent. It seems that not everyone in the Bigfoot research community gets along, and Marks's work has certainly stirred up some criticism. Still, Cook believes that the Sasquatch might be the closest living relative to humans, likening Bigfoot to an ancient primate, Australopithecus, known from a skull found in South Africa.
In this chapter, we delve into more mysterious sightings of Bigfoot that have baffled experts and enthusiasts alike. The Pacific Northwest, with its vast and uncharted forests, has long been a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings. I was hiking in the Cascades in Washington state when I saw it, a large, hairy figure moving quickly between the trees. It wasn't a bear, it was something else. My family and I were camping near Mount Rainier. We heard strange, guttural noises at night. The next morning, we found large footprints around our campsite. Across the border, in the remote wilderness of Canada, similar stories have emerged. Tribal Indian communities have their own legends and names for the creature, often describing it as a guardian of the forest. Elders in these communities share tales passed down through generations. They speak of encounters that defy explanation, urging us to respect the mysteries of the natural world. Researchers and enthusiasts continue their quest for answers. Footprint casts, hair samples, and audio recordings are meticulously analyzed, but the puzzle remains unsolved. Researcher: this cast was taken from a remote area in British Columbia. It's much larger than a human foot and has distinct features that suggest an unknown primate. As night falls, the forest comes alive with sounds that stir the imagination. Could these be the calls of an undiscovered species, or are they simply the echoes of our deepest fears and hopes? The legend of Bigfoot endures, captivating our minds and hearts. The search for Bigfoot continues, a journey into the heart of mystery and legend. Thanks for visiting. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Bigfoot's mysteries, please like, subscribe, and click the bell for more thrilling Bigfoot stories. Your support helps us keep the search alive.